off. And it was like, and they were gone. It was just for an air show. Very clever. Burners on, brakes off.
Could we get a zoom on that?
That's
That's
a fish.
what you get
That
from
is indeed a
Argus.
fish. Yeah. Maybe a rat tail?
Maybe a rat tail. Keep those questions coming in. It is 2:36 in the afternoon out here in American Samoa. We're about 12 miles or so off the coast of Pongo Pongo. And we are still continuing our search for the Samoan Clipper. We've extended our search area from the original, just about doubled our search area. We are continuing to check out this new side. I believe we're on the east side?
West.
West side? West side of the new search area. And each one of these lines that we are going across takes about one watch. So we've still got a good chunk of time before we finish each one of these. If you're looking in the camera, it looks a bit different. It's because Hercules is not in the water right now. It is just Argus. Argus is being towed by the Nautilus, and we're using its side scan sonar to continue to map that area to find some potential dive targets. We found quite a few dive targets, I think 56 or so, but I think the general consensus is that after having spent a bit more time out here and seeing more signatures, that the vast majority of them are probably rocks and not worth investigating in too much greater depth. You're looking at channel 1, you're seeing the side scan sonar from Argus, and you're seeing roughly the same picture in the two waterfall images you see in the top, one with the yellow ribbon and one with a blue ribbon. The yellow ribbon is waterfall is a frequency that has a bit higher definition but not nearly the range, and the blue ribbon waterfall underneath that is pretty much the opposite of that. Not the same level of definition but a greater range. But if you look and see in those waterfall images in the center of the screen, you see that black area, and that is the area underneath Argus, which is called the nadir. It is not picked up by side scan sonar, hence the name side scan. It's not scanning the area underneath. However, if you're on channel 2, you can see the area underneath Argus in that video feed. We're about 15 or so meters above the sea floor, and we're about 3,000 meters deep. And then if you're on the third feed, our channel 3, you can see our position. We are the purplish pink object out in front, and then if you see that black square or rhombus behind us that is jumping around a bit, that is the position of Argus behind us. Argus isn't actually jumping back and forth like that. It's just the positioning data that we're getting from Argus. Still searching for the Samoan Clipper. Still have not dove Hercules or put Hercules in the water. We're not planning to do that in the immediate future until we can come up with either A, something very definitive, or B, finishing all of our passes and then potentially identifying on some location that seems the most promising.
I saw a mail just come in, so I just want to say hi, Steve. Explorers Club, Steve.
Hi, Steve. Hope you enjoyed the interaction earlier today.
We got cut off, actually.
You did?
They cut us off.
Oh, no.
I think they were having technical difficulties.
Ah. Rats. That does happen.
Rennie, I had a question.
Yes.
So, I noticed that Argus was really only moving when we moved. Is that because of the stabilizing fin? Like, now it's moving straight even though it's not directly behind the ship?
What do you mean by it's moving only when we move?
It only changed heading when we started going off directly off the line.
Uh-huh.
So is its path of travel mostly affected by the fin on it?
No, I mean, it's it's pretty much affected by currents down. So the main factor is the ship dragging it along. But if there's a current below, which is why I think we were slightly offline, we had to kind of correct for that.
Gotcha.
Does that answer sufficiently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need to make an Alexa app that just has Rennie explaining different concepts. You could listen to that all day.
You do a great job.
A lot of people falling asleep.
Alexa,
something long
have Rennie explain the meaning of life.
Yeah, and then just monotone voice what's used. That was a comment on one of when I was teaching a course at my school.
That she only had one tone of voice.
It was like it makes it really easy to learn. It's a bit monotone at times. So it's always the one negative comment that sticks with you. It's like, but I've done nothing to address it.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
Y'all can totally tell when you're excited about things and
Yeah.
when things are just regular.
Megan, would you say that's a depression on port side?
It's a thing.
People with more sonar experience than I would
She's punting to Rennie.
would possibly say that was a depression, but maybe not.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Plot twist.
Hard to say. It could be related to, because that's not a very distinct shadow. That it could be related to material density, but probably it's likely that it's just a slight change in slope away from us, so going down away from us. So yeah, a bit of a depression, but it's a bit confusing of a smear, so it's hard to say.
Thanks, Rennie.
Yep.
Looks like an upside down hole to me.
Like
There
a
you
mount.
go.
Yeah. Have to see you usually see like a bright edge closer to. It's hard to say.
Continue to send in those questions. We would love to answer them for you. And if there's something extremely technical, we do have Rennie here.
You guys are really overselling my talent here. It's not what you think.
We have a question coming in. Are those track lines, are we any different, like 200, 300 meters between each one?
Still 200 meters. We found that that's kind of the best as far as the range of our side scan sonar.
Thanks.
So we're getting just the feather edges of overlap, but should be getting, we're not doing too much overlap that we're over surveying.
Attention. 92 to
Greetings from our Chinese viewer. Thanks for tuning in. Along with our viewers from American Samoa, we are not too far away from you at all.
Maybe you could see us with binoculars if you're on the northern.
Yeah, you probably could.
Looks like there's a storm back there in the aft view.
Ooh.
Do you know if the winds are blowing?
That's a really good shot,
this
Ed.
way?
The winds are currently from the
beautiful.
northeast, and it's not really significant. It's only 8 or 9 knots of wind.
I see rain. So Ed, do we want to try again and have Lonnie approve of our timeline of the smoke
Oh
clipper?
man, I thought we were going to just slay it last time and we butchered
know,
it.
yeah, we
butchered it.
It was less than
I
great.
was wrong on my first number. I was like, they headed out at 5:50. Nope.
All right, Lonnie, are you ready to?
Don't mean to cut you down like
No,
that.
no, I was wrong. I thought I had it, and I was well off. I think
Right.
now it was 5:30.
It's
5:32.
5:35.
Okay, what time do they leave the dock?
That's
Is
what
it
we're working out
was-
right now.
I know they-
5:32.
Oh, I got that
There you
one.
go.
I got that
And
one.
they took off 5 minutes later, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
would be
5:37.
5:37.
good.
And
then-
it wasn't light yet.
Yes.
So that's why they couldn't actually record the visibility.
So did they
Right.
take off so early because they had a 12-hour flight? They wanted to land before it got dark?
Yeah.
Yes, because
Okay.
they were thinking it was 12.6 hours and they had 14 plus hours of daylight.
Right, they were chasing the sun.
Right.
So
Then the next-
5:37 they take off,
Right.
and they're flying, and they're
At
30-some minutes later?
6:08, they
Yep.
Report
they
31
note
minutes later.
that there's an oil leak in engine number 4.
And 4 would have been the leftmost
Far left?
engine
So
as you're flying, as you're seeing in the pilot seat.
from the cockpit, you're looking out to your right,
Whoa.
Oh,
the last
Okay.
outboard engine.
okay.
So they reported that, well, later it was reported that Music had the engine shut down at that time when he noted the oil leak, but they didn't report
Mhm.
that back right away.
So they
And
send
he-
a message that they're
At
going to come back.
6:37, they reported that they did have the oil leak and they were returning to Pongo Pongo at 6:37.
Okay.
So they've only been airborne an hour.
And then they begin dumping fuel.
At 6:56, the plane was seen over Pongo Pongo.
But have they already started dumping fuel, or is that after?
Oh yeah, they've been dumping fuel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they've been dumping fuel. They're spotted over Pongo Pongo, and then they
We
are
couldn't
circling
figure out how
around.
much fuel they had left because while they're dumping fuel,
They're using it too.
they're
And
not
they shut
using
the
the radio.
Radio's off.
Right.
But at some point we end up determining that they are 285 pounds under the fuel limit for a 3-engine landing.
Close. Yeah, 372 pounds
Okay.
below the max authorized to land with 3 engines.
So they were safe to land with 3 engines by that.
Yes, but then you have to consider the terrain where they were going to land. So their landing base was in a very tight boot-shaped bay where it was only their landing place was a 1/4 mile by 2 miles. And so they had to approach from the northwest, come in over a ridge, just skim the ridge, an 800-foot ridge. Otherwise, they'd have to fly over a 1,700-foot mountain. So they skim the 800-foot ridge, cut the engines, and dive to the water, and then pull out, and land. A white knuckle landing, like they described it as though they were trying to land in a well, right? And they'd say everybody aboard would be pale after landing. So anyway, their radios were off, but at 7:35 they were back in the vicinity of Tutula, near Fagasa Bay. And the crew is preparing to dump more fuel. At 7:42, they advised the ground station they were still dumping, and then they cut off again. At 7:59, when radios resumed, the plane was over Apia, Western Samoa. And at 8:27 was the last commo. They logged that they were still dumping fuel, and 8:35, all contact was lost.
Apia is a long way off to...
So that's 3 hours. They were aloft.
Right, but you think he
3
would have
hours.
just been circling out over the water dumping fuel. Maybe he just wanted to stay close to land.
Oh, he had a purpose for going over there. You mean
He
to
wanted to
Apia?
search for
Yeah.
new
Yeah,
spots
he
to
was
land.
scouting. He wanted to scout that as a future landing
Ah,
base area.
so
Of course,
got to be up here, might as well do something.
American Samoa was the choice because it's been a U.S. territory since 1900, and Apia was under British oversight, and we might not have been welcome to, considering the competition
Yeah.
for the transport industry, might not have been welcomed there. So at 8:35, they were seen flying westward offshore of Fagasa Bay, making a wide circle to northward away from land. And the eyewitness saw what she thought was smoke coming from both wings, but we know it was fuel. And the fuel actually, I read a report that the fuel streams out about 40 feet. They descended abruptly to the water. Still dumping, there was a flash of fire, black smoke, detonation, and the wings appeared visible for an interval, an appreciable interval. So
That's all we have. Plane has not been seen since January 11th, 1938.
wow, that's it.
So the question coming in about what a sonar image of a plane or wreck might look like.
It's okay.
We're looking for some shapes that don't appear natural to the surrounding area. They look a little bit different. They're possibly more geometric because you don't really find a lot of those in nature, if any. And then we are also looking for something that has a high return. So by high return, we're talking about that they the sonar we're using uses sound. So when the sound is bouncing off of a aluminum aircraft, it's going to bounce off a lot faster than it would off of the sediment or off of the rock. So it'll appear much brighter in the actual side scan sonar map. Thanks, Randy.
Your sacrifice is appreciated.
Question coming in about couldn't they turn one engine off and rerouted the oil lines? They did turn off that engine, and they could have continued on to Auckland. They had enough fuel. It was permissible, but if you're that early into that long of a flight, I think they probably thought it was probably better to maybe
I
go
thought
back and
Lonnie
make things
said
go
that
under
all the engines pulled from a common oil pool, and that if that engine was leaking oil, it might still be.
Right, he was afraid to lose too much oil. He was afraid to lose too much oil. So it's always better to be safe. Turn back to your station, get repaired. Little did he know. They had done dumping tests before the fuel would die, and they saw that it streamed and, was on the airplane, so it was it was a very risky procedure. And after this accident, it was banned, at least on passenger aircraft, U.S. flagged passenger aircraft. There was a law that was passed that the dumping valves had to be capped, but since the S-42B It was still kind of in the experimental category. It slipped through, and it wasn't being used. I mean, this particular one wasn't being used for passengers anyway. It was strictly a cargo mail plane.
So, Lonnie, if that ban would have been in effect at this time, what would their alternatives have been?
It's a good question, but you would think they could just put the plane down outside the bay and, you know, have repair come out, because, yeah, motor in, or as we learned, the wing has a retractable work platform on the leading edge of the wing, so that even in the water you can work on the engines. So if he had any idea what was going to happen, I would think he would just put it down. Just get down.
Good question coming in about the analyzation of the sonar data. We obviously have our science team checking out the sonar returns as they come in, but Mike Brennan from Search also has technology and a computer program that actually stitches together and takes a lot of the distortion and interference and different things to clean up this image and put them together so you get a bit more of a complete picture. It doesn't totally eliminate all of the interference, but it makes it much easier to read. Quite a few of the all of the images that you see seem a bit stretched, and that's because we're traveling a bit slower than what the sonar is used to, so we're getting multiple returns on the same target. So something that's not particularly large, since we're moving so slow, we hit multiple times and it actually appears to be larger than it is. Alana, you have someone by the name of Lane, I believe, saying hello?
Who was that? What is the name?
I believe Lane.
Lane? Hello, Lane.
Just asking if you've seen any squid out here.
Yes, we have. Oh, and we have someone who could
One
describe
sec.
this to you.
Yes, we do have Peyton.
You know, when we're sitting up here in the control van, we're very disciplined. We have water, and we have our screens and our job, but every now and then a treat appears, and that's what just happened, so excuses for chewing for a second.
I don't want to talk with my mouth full. That's a great question. We did actually see, it was either a vampire squid or a Dumbo octopus, which have some similarities to squid. Vampire squids are like a different suborder where they're actually like similar to both squid and octopi, while
yeah,
the Dumbo.
aren't they're in their own?
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier, but I'll have to pull it up again in a sec. But Dumbo octopuses, their mantles are, so the mantle is like the sac. It sort of looks like the head, but that's actually where most of their vital organs, like their digestive tract, their stomach, their gills, their heart, all of that is located in the mantle. And on the sides, for the Dumbo octopuses, they have two fins that help them to swim, which is similar to what squid normally have. They also have fins at the top of their mantle as well.
A question about why we are moving slower and causing the stretching to occur, and just have to kind of move within the parameters of the ship and the cable and the tension and all those factors that kind of play in, the currents.
We've basically got a 9,000-pound sea anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
we're
don't have a
moving
tow
under-
fish that we're using.
moving under dynamic positioning, so using jet pump and bow thruster.
Although the term sea ankle should totally be a thing.
Sea
Anchor.
ankle.
Anchor, sorry.
A sankle.
Sankle,
Sankle.
chamois.
Okay, interesting. So, among cephalopods, There's two, let me check, is this, I think this is suborder? This is superorder. There's two superorders, decapodiforms and octopodiforms, so referring to the number of arms they have, 10 for squid and 8 for octopi. And the order Vampiromorphida, which is where vampire squids are found, are inside of octopodiforms, so they actually have 8 arms. And yeah, that makes sense, because normally with squid they have 2 longer oral arms. They tuck them inside of their bodies, and when they're going to hunt, they actually sort of jet them out to grab food and bring them in. Cuttlefish do this as well. While for octopi, they just have their 8 arms. And for vampire squids, they, again, don't have those 2 longer oral arms.
Those are filter feeders. They don't need to use those for predation.
Yeah, they have this little
They evolved
sticky
without them?
filament. Yeah, they have this little sticky filament that follows behind them, and then they live in the oxygen minimum zone, where they have this very slow metabolism in order to not use as much oxygen and also use less energy. And then they will basically pick off whatever detritus is drifting down from the bottom, or drifting down from the top.
We have another question coming in about, does the Nautilus ever collect deep sea sediment? And the answer to that is yes. Hercules, with its craft predator arm, has the ability to pick up push cores. So it grabs a sphere on top of these, pushes them in to the sediment at the bottom of the ocean, and then pulls them back up and takes them back up to the science team.
I don't know who asked that, but if you hang around for another hour, you can ask Rebecca, who's another data logger, who is very specialized in, is her?
Extremophiles.
Extremophiles, yes. And so studying bacteria often requires doing push cores.
And we have hey, shout out to Peyton from Squipazzi, who loves your drawings.
Thank you, Anthony. Excited to see you on the next leg.
I just caught the word Squipazzi. That caught my attention. Oh yeah, those drawings are cool. You go get one of those, or can count them into releasing one when you're on board. This is our video engineering intern, Anthony, who slightly delayed arrival to the vessel, which I'm sure was heartbreaking, especially since he's going to, man, I'm going to get this wrong. CSU's Maritime Academy, I think, in Vallejo. And he was out at sea earlier this season on their vessel. And we had a port call in Vallejo. While Anthony was out at sea on another vessel, his family came down and toured the Nautilus. So they've actually been on board before he has, which I'm sure just amped up the excitement on his home front.
Yeah.
Family's been on board. They've seen exactly where he's going to be sitting and what he's going to be doing. They've seen the ROVs and the staterooms and the bridge and the mess and everything. And now he's slightly delayed. He's leaving tomorrow. We'll see him on Sunday here. Just a short 35-hour travel day for him, and he'll be here. Maybe less than that, 30 hours, I don't know. I think he's going to Auckland, and then to Apia, and then to Pongo Pongo, and then to the Nautilus.
So you're going to stop at the hotel that we did on our way?
Yeah, I think so.
The hotel was beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
It's right there on the water.
And unfortunately, even with all that travel, he's going to get to the boat midday Sunday. We're sailing Monday, and so we're training Sunday. I'm humanitarian about it, though. If he needs to sleep, he gets to sleep.
Ed's trial by fire.
No, it's no baptism by inferno here. It's just gotta get you trained up.
First, we're going to Swains Island, which is far north.
Oh, good.
So we actually have a bit of transit time.
Like a day and a half?
Yeah, maybe even. Let me do the thing that
We're working this up just for you, Anthony. Yeah, that would help, because then we'll sail on Monday morning, usually around 8 or 9 a.m. 9:30, somewhere in there. And then, like on this leg, what did it take us 3 hours to get here?
Hardly any time at all.
2 hours, 3 hours. And we were diving.
3, and I think we have to meet the pilot at 8 Saturday morning back there.
Right, yeah. Oh, Saturday morning, 8, so we can go till 4 or so.
Yeah, at least 20 hours.
Yeah, so we'll be diving maybe midnight Monday or early Tuesday morning. So some time to get you.
Are we going to do any
situated.
mapping to identify targets, or do we already know our targets for those?
For Swains, I believe we have the maps that we need. I'd have to double check. I have got all of that information downstairs. Needs to tidy up a little bit more. Again, a lot of that was collected by Okeanos Explorer, 2017.
So the sonar data that we are streaming the images, not necessarily the data. We have a science team on board who's doing and has the capability of doing all the things they need to, and we also have onshore scientists who we can actually talk to through back channels, who can share and see some of that same data. So we've got a pretty comprehensive team available to us, both back at home and all over the world, as well as out here, to help us potentially identify wrecks or whatever things we might be doing regardless of the expedition we're on.
The next leg will be very different type of mission than this.
Yes. Yes.
We'll be, I believe, characterizing the biology and geology of the American Samoa Marine National Sanctuary?
National Sanctuary of
National Marine Sanctuary
American
of
Samoa.
American Samoa.
Ah.
For some reason, they
It's
have
not
the
They inverted it?
They inverted it.
We'll also be testing the limits of Peyton's ability to control his excitement.
Oh man.
He may be melting in joy.
Just a tad. Sorry, Lonnie. Oh no, just for being very excited for biology.
Why would you apologize for that? I think that's phenomenal. I love it.
Thank you.
I love your explanations, your knowledge, your enthusiasm. Don't ever apologize
Thanks.
for that.
People just keep asking good bio questions in the chat.
Yeah, it's great.
So it is just about 10 after 3 p.m. in the afternoon here in American Samoa. We are continuing along with our transects as we continue to go through those lines. We've got a few left on the west side of our expanded search area, and then we'll be going to the other side. We'll possibly going over an area where we need to pick up some more data, a little hole in the sonar data. We want to make sure we didn't miss anything. And
Data, this is Data Lab. Yeah, I just want to, do you have written down when we went back over targets 30 and 31 what the file name was that we went over those in?
That I do, give me 1 second. Oh, that I do, give me 1 second. That will be 51 and 52, which should be in R1056-01 turn northwest track. .005.
05, thank you.
Let me know if you have any other questions.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, I realized I turned on. Oh,
Yeah, you were on
There's
SPL.
another-
no, he can push out.
yeah. I realized that I had pushed
that?
listen and I had turned off listen and not talk on SPL.
That's all right.
We'll try to forgive you.
Oh, thank you.
What was the name of that file again? That was a cool sounding name.
Yeah, it was one of the turning tracks. It was R1056_01 turn northwest track .005.
See if you can get that as a customized license plate. Might be too many characters. You'd also have to get a wide load symbol because your license plate would be so large.
50 and 51. Let me pull
Peyton,
it
do
up.
you have a car?
I do not. I do have a license though.
Okay. Do you bus?
A lot, yes.
Yeah.
Is your campus pretty busable? Or do you just kind of walk?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. If you're on the upper campus, you can you use any wheeled vehicle to get to lower campus pretty easily. It's getting back's the hard part.
I went to Eastern Michigan University. We were not a particularly large campus. I think I could run around the whole thing in about 20 minutes or less, 15 minutes.
Yeah. UW spread all over the place. Have you had any classes down in oceanography yet, Peyton?
Sorry, one more time?
Have you had any classes down in oceanography? Down by Ship Canal?
I did. I had, it was in the Ocean Teaching Building.
OTB?
Yeah, and I had Ocean 295, Marine Organic Chemistry.
If you ever get it
As a freshman year level class?
Yeah, UW's very,
wow.
UW is one of the largest federal grant recipients in the country, second only to somebody else. And they use undergraduates to perform actual research.
Yeah.
So they go to sea on the research vessel, they work on actual federally funded projects, etc. It's very hands-on.
Wow.
If you get next door to OTB sometime, I have an office up in OSB 365.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'll write that down.
It's just my name on the door to hold my space so that no one else takes it, like all universities. Space is precious.
Which building?
OSB 365.
OSB.
Also his license plate number?
Yep. That's where John Delaney and Deb Kelly's office is.
Oh, gotcha.
Right in there with them.
So what other classes are
I
you
know where
taking
that
in the
is.
fall, Peyton?
Yeah.
I believe right now I'm taking Bio 200, which is second level bio class. CSE 331, which is data structures and algorithms. And I think I was going to take Fish 290, which is like scientific writing and communication. But I have a friend that's pressuring me to take marine bio as a class, and it's very tempting.
So you've got 3 classes?
3. Yep.
Do any of those, does the bio class have a lab attached with it?
It does.
Nice. Is that one a credit, or is it just rolled into the credit for the class?
Yeah, it's required for the class, so it's total of 5.
I always loved those.
Yeah, it's fun.
I did an ecology class, and we got to go out and we would design our own experiment, and then get it approved and funded by the university, and that was always all sorts of fun. I didn't know that squirrels ate eggs until that one.
Wow.
You want to know what a bunch of squirrels is?
Yes, I do.
Stand by. I just read it.
A cluster of squirrels?
What do you have the book
A
folded
band?
open to if not that?
Some steel grade thing. Hold on. It was a funny one.
A carton.
A carton?
A dray
A
or a
dray.
squirry?
A squirry. That is perfect. Oh, honey, look, it's a squirry of squirrels.
It's actually scurry. I read it weird.
Oh. So a scurry of scurrying squirrels.
Huh. A group of toad? Knot. K-N-O-T.
A knot of toads?
Delicious.
Huh. I didn't know for so long that I had it wrong and it was octopuses instead of octopi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of discussion here about that, and somebody said because it has a Is it a Greek root, not a Latin root?
I forgot.
Yeah.
Working for Science Friday and Cephalopod Week, you gotta.
Oh man, I still use octopi as a force of habit.
Octopuses.
Yeah, octopuses.
In my mind's eye, I've seen this flying boat drift into sight about 400 times. Just trying to will it, make it happen.
Same.
Just tell Miles. Maybe he's the controller. He made the pizza happen.
Yeah.
Miles needs to give a talk to Poseidon. Ask him where it's at.
I need to play my C. What do you call those rags?
The what?
The rags absorb all the water. Sounds like shanty.
Oh, a chamois.
Chamois. I gotta play my C chamois. And see if that makes it happen.
What do you use that to clean? Never mind.
I felt sounded like a riddle was coming on.
Yeah. Did do a good job of getting the 3 light bulbs in. Still a good question.
Thanks, viewer who's asked, how's life? How's life? Our life is great. We're on the Nautilus. It's hard to be much better. We are exploring the ocean. We're trying to find the small clipper. So things are great. Hope things are great with you. We are definitely enjoying ourselves as we continue to explore. Hello to Australian viewers. Hope things are going well down under. So if you're watching in channel 1, and you're checking out our side scan sonar, and you ever wanted to know what pretty much a smooth and relatively unremarkable ocean floor looked like on sonar, you've got it right there. Not really rocks or anything like that. It's just pretty smooth ocean floor.
Welcome to the abyssal plain.
Yep. That black area in the middle is the nadir. So side scan sonar obviously only scans the sides, not directly above or below it. So the area below it is being viewed in channel 2 by Argus. On Argus's camera, it's about 15 meters or so above the ocean floor. You'll see it kind of come in and out of focus just a little bit because we are moving up and down with the ship. We don't have another ROV taking the heave off like Argus typically does for Hercules. Question about what we are going to have for dinner tonight. We don't know. We did...
No published menus on this boat.
Yeah.
Other boats do publish a menu.
Huh. We were hoping for pizza for a while, and we lucked out and we got it for lunch. Got some egg rolls. I don't remember egg rolls being on last time, but
there's
they
a
are good.
vessel that Dan and I and Trevor have worked on, and Mike, where the science party eats in the officer's mess, which has linens and plates there, and you go and sit down and they bring you a menu.
Really?
The stewards do, and you order off of that menu, and they bring your food to you, and then you just leave it when you're done. And they have desserts and everything.
Ow.
Which, it sounds nice. I'm not that big of a fan because you have no portion control. So I end up being super wasteful because I'm more of a snacker than a big meal eater.
Well, you eat a big meal and then you go to sleep and then you wake up for your shift and
That's why I like the 4 to 8 watch, because you can get off watch, have a big breakfast, and get your big sleep then.
Yeah, 4 to 8 watch is where it's at. It's my favorite too.
I slept through breakfast today.
I sleep through breakfast every day.
Yeah.
I had to
Well,
get
it's hard
up
to
at
sometimes with the interactions being
Oh yeah, you
the
got
time zones they are.
I had to get up at 7:30 for a call, the expedition call, and was up till like 9:30, and then got an hour of sleep.
Yeah, you got it
yeah,
right.
because no, 45 minutes. I get up at 10:15 for this watch.
But Summer, you were in the gym.
Yeah,
You
I
weren't
did
sleeping.
that today.
You were
I got
burning the calories in the gym.
I got 5 hours though. I was very happy about that.
I'll bet.
Solid chunk. That's rare.
Several of us had an awesome cold pancake at 4 in the morning when we got off last watch.
Savagely ripping into a cold pancake.
All stood around the stack of
The
pancakes.
picking,
Like zombies.
the pickings at 4 a.m. aren't too good.
We had an interaction at 4, and then I had one at 5:30, and then I slept.
Brian, after our interaction at 4, we both just sort of sat there too numb to move.
Yeah.
Like,
One
why
at
are we
5:30
still
was
sitting
tough.
here?
Your brain is telling you to do stuff, but your body's like,
I did that
nah.
yesterday. I went and accidentally, I just kind of ended up sitting in the lounge and I was staring at the same things we stare at on watch. And I was like, why am I here?
You've been programmed.
But I couldn't get up.
No escape.
Favorite meal on the Nautilus?
Pizza.
Corn dogs.
Pizza? Corn dogs? Ooh, corn dogs.
I like that thick crust pizza.
Yeah.
Couscous.
Lentils.
Curry,
I love when they have
lamb.
lentils.
Mixed.
I get really excited.
Lasagna was pretty good last
Can't
night.
get mixed anywhere else.
Oh, that lasagna
I
was
like the
good.
ravioli.
That was so good.
Okay,
yeah,
that's my
It was the
favorite
second best
lasagna.
pizza, yeah.
Yes.
What was second
Actually,
best?
Lasagna.
Oh.
The
Last night, that was
ravioli
good.
lasagna. The chicken legs that she does are really good.
Yeah, she had some chicken on the bone.
Chicken leg.
I think there might be a photo during dinner tonight. It's gonna be.
Oh yeah, right after.
Is it? Did you get a notice?
It's I think 6:55. 5:55. Because it's 17:55.
Yeah.
Up on the bow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not raining,
No, no.
Oh, it's coming.
we'll do it anyways.
It's coming.
See, that'll just make it an even better group photo.
So an interesting question coming in about, are there any other wrecks in the area and any chance of finding something? And the great part about ocean exploration is there's always a chance of finding something. What it is, that's always up to not us.
Well, you could look on the chart and see if there's any known wrecks around here, especially if there are hazards in navigation. At 3,000 meters, that's not going to be the case. I've never seen a ship that tall.
I think at this point we would love it if we found any wreck.
Yeah, like a container.
Yeah. If we found a container, that would be awesome.
That'd be cool.
You could chuck the rowing machine over the side.
It'd also be a great way to calibrate our eyes to what a square object.
Yeah, have a known object and see what it looks like.
Just
inside
take that
scan.
anvil and chuck it over.
Watch out for the
Might
goat.
be attached to a goat.
Don't get knocked over by the goat.
I love that no one knows what. That doesn't make any sense to anybody.
Right.
who's listening.
Watch
out for the goat.
Do all the watches have inside jokes?
Usually, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes the viewers are really like,
they pick up
What was
on
our
them.
goat joke?
They
Did I miss
write
that?
in on all our
Yeah.
inside jokes.
The
I think
guys,
Lonnie told this.
Yeah.
Lonnie, you want to share
joke.
it again?
Oh, I don't know if I can tell it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a one time.
Yeah, right, a
I think I can
one-timer.
remember it. Do you want me
It's
to
a
try?
one-timer.
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
That one-timer.
One-timer.
My father used to say, I peddle my peanuts once a day. Sort of like that. But you have permission to retell it as many times as you want, Peyton.
All right.
It's the first object we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Ooh. A shiny rock. A reflective rock. Thanks for that question that came in about cooking on the ship. And yes, we do have part of our crew of 17. We do have dedicated cooks. Just because if I had to go back there and start making some food, we probably would not be able to make it out of our cabins.
We have 2 cooks and a steward, and the 2 cooks usually split the day up. So one of them does breakfast, and then the next day they'll swap or whatever. And they get little breaks through the day, but they also put out snacks at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. I was on board once. Oh, you guys don't really know the crew, do you?
Not as well as you.
We know some of them.
So, Feder, who's the acting bosun right now, I was on in the off season, and it's a skeleton crew. There's about 6 crew, and Maxime was the younger of the cooks, was the only cook, and he was going home and being replaced by a new cook who wasn't going to be here for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. So Feder was cooking for us.
Oh yeah.
So we had a lot of pierogies.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snap zoom. What is that?
Fish?
Some sort of.
Ling cod? No, it's laying on the. Oh, it's on the bottom. It might be a ling.
Do lingcod live this deep?
Should we sample it?
Well, there we go. That was it.
Grab
That
it.
was that.
Thanks,
Well, I did get a screen grab.
And Peyton, what's unique about ling cod?
Oh, I have a fun story. So we have a few lingcod at the Seattle Aquarium, and the males and females look kind of different. So the females are like this mottled, like dark gray, brown, and white.
Yep.
And the males are brown and a lot smaller. And so the females, like, not only are they these huge fish, but when they're holding eggs, so we call that gravid, they're just like swollen, like kind of rounded on the sides, and as they swim, like their stomach kind of wobbles back and forth. So there's one that we were keeping tabs on in an exhibit, and the next day we came back, and it was just like, it almost looks like dense cotton candy. Like the eggs were just everywhere, and the male was just sitting guard over all of them, and it was tons of eggs.
Do you have any cabezon in there?
I believe we do.
Yeah.
In the window in Washington waters, and probably also the dome.
Oh yeah, there probably are in the dome.
Yeah.
So lingcod do not have a swim bladder.
Oh.
They cannot hover in water. Either have
That's
to be
what allows them
swimming
to
or
be so
sitting.
deep.
And I think the kelp greenlings are also another example of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also cabezons.
Yep. That's why I was asking about the
Oh,
cabezon.
okay, so you're probing for an answer.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to feed you one. Have you ever been to Edmonds, Washington? It's up by Linwood on the
Yes.
coast.
I have, but I don't think
You
I
would
can
take the
remember
ferry
much
from
about
there
it.
over to like Port Townsend or Port Angeles.
Yeah.
They have about a 33-acre underwater park
Wow.
in Edmonds. That is obviously a marine sanctuary, and there are lingcod who mustn't have read the statute that they can't be fished there, and they're monsters.
Wow.
Were there like a bunch of statues down there and stuff? Like
Yeah, and there's old construction stuff, there's a barge, there's all sorts of things. As a matter of fact, the barge has a hole in it that's, it looks like it was purpose-built as part of it being a barge that's probably, I don't know, 4 feet across. And there's a lingcod frequently in there that occupies a surprising amount of that hole.
Wow.
But the cabezon will be on eggs down there too, and their eggs look kind of like styrofoam. And they will protect their eggs by coming as you're diving and ram into you.
Ooh.
And I wear a dry suit, so I can't feel it, but you can see them doing it, or your buddy will tell you you're being rammed by a cabezon. But they will follow you like 10 or 15 meters away from the eggs, trying to protect the eggs, which seems like a really ineffective protection strategy.
The bass do that in New Hampshire.
Yeah, they're
they
leaving
sit
them
over their
unguarded.
nests, and if you're swimming, they come after you.
Huh.
The what, Lonnie?
The bass.
Oh.
And I get the protecting it, but at some point you should recognize the threat's gone and you've left your things unguarded.
So Doug from Texas, thanks for writing in. We have about 56 targets, I believe, is our current number.
Hasn't changed much in the last day.
Yeah, we haven't.
I think that's because we've educated ourselves.
And then a question about the materials that are less visible or to sonar. And, it just kind of depends on a variety of factors. Things that are, sonar is going to get whatever the return is. So you'll either are getting a return or lack thereof a return. So something will show up. It just depends on what it looks like based on those properties. So the crew as well, another question that aren't part of the stream or the live feed that you're checking out right now. So in the control van is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. And so we have 3 rotating shifts of 8 people. However, there's a full-time crew of 17 and up to 31 PSYOPs. So the crew is there for pretty much the duration of the season, while science operation members such as us rotate in and out based on the expedition and expertise and what have you. So there's quite a few people that
Must
you
be a
will
storm.
hear.
The wind was coming pretty much from the northwest, and now there's a gust coming from the west
20
southwest.
knots. Yeah.
20 knots.
Hey, Georgia College student, thanks for joining us. Dr. Megan actually went to undergrad at UGA, and I live in Georgia as well.
Yay.
We are hoping to find the Samoan Clipper. So that is a ship that crashed in 1938.
Flying boat.
Flying boat, yep. The Sikorsky S-42B with a very famous pilot Ed Music and his crew, who were also just as equally accomplished group of aviators. He unfortunately perished along with the flying boat, the Clipper, and it hasn't been seen since. So 81 years later, we're trying to uncover the final resting place of both the crew and this aircraft.
.23 knots.
Wow, that's abrupt.
Abrupt and from a different direction.
Just in time for watch to end. Soak us.
What is it, the high pack plan has the graph? When you, yeah, never mind.
What? Oh yeah, what's that look like?
Doesn't look as bad as yesterday.
It might not be have updated. It doesn't update as often. It's not live.
Oh, 234.
Can we
Yeah, it's
mow
not
the
update-
lawn
oh, it just
Tuesday
shot
night
up.
and Friday
There it
night?
went.
Yeah.
How long? When do we have to start taking Argus in?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're pulling in the morning. Are you talking about the end of the cruise?
Yeah.
Well, when
I
do
think
we
we
have
have
to
an.
book Argus up?
Somebody told me we had I heard somebody say we have an 8 a.m. pilot
Yeah, I said that.
On the
Yeah.
21st.
Right.
Saturday.
On Saturday.
So
Yes.
it's only a few hours, so we could potentially be still in the water even that night.
Okay.
And how long is the recovery?
I think you said a few hours.
2 hours. Was 2 to put her down, right?
If it's just Argus, the recovery will be faster than if it was Argus and Herc. So it's going to depend on what we get accomplished.
So we could be going up until 12 to 4 shift on Saturday morning potentially.
Yeah.
I don't. We'll see how that turns over to the captain as well at some point.
Yeah.
They'll pull the plug.
They'll